So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Got tongue-tied there. It's been nearly been so long since I've done my own podcast, but wanted to pop on because last night Twitter was a blast with, or over the last 24, 48 hours, Twitter has been a blast with the Emi Martinez news, I suppose, or whatever way you want to call it. Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano both reporting that Emi Martinez is camp or initiating contact with Manchester United, and that move potentially looks like it's going to come true. And then you had, Julian, then today, the French correspondent that has said that Villa are in active negotiations with Lille for Lucas Chevalier. And that's Lucas Chevalier is somebody we've discussed here on the podcast before. We did a whole podcast on who could potentially replace Emi Martinez, with Chevalier being one of those goalkeepers. So I just wanted to kind of pop on and kind of share some of my thoughts on this, and also look at Lucas Chevalier, if this is who has been the chosen one to replace Emi Martinez, because I think one of the interesting pieces is that from a statistical point of view, you'll see in a moment that the two of them are remarkably similar. So my first thoughts on this one is get it over and done with if Emi Martinez is going to leave. If he's going to leave, I prefer to see anybody that's going to leave the club leave now, as opposed to be, and I know people are going to talk about PSR. Let's take PSR out of the equation just for the moment. This is just total, just kind of Neil's feelings on this transfer itself, because everybody knows that, like, whenever we discuss anything, we have to discuss it under the moniker of PSR and so on. And let's just forget about that for a moment. But realistically, I want to see if there are any players that are going to leave Villa's squad, any first team players, any players that we've been relying on for our first 11, let them leave now. And the reason for that I want is specifically for a goalkeeper is goalkeeper leaves, get your new goalkeeper in here as quick as possible and get him on the training field, get him communicating with his defense. He needs to be here for the full lot of all training camps, all preseason friendlies, start him in goals, allow him to get used to playing in the system and so on. It's just so, for me, it's so pivotal that would have to happen, specifically for goalkeepers. So specifically on the Emi Martinez piece, if he wants to go to Manchester United, get it done as soon as possible. Now, where do my feelings stand on him moving to that specific team in Manchester United? And be honest with you, I'd be really kind of galled by it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that, like, I could understand Emi Martinez going abroad, playing Barcelona. I could understand him playing for Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone. I could understand him going to Paris Saint-Germain. I don't understand the move to Manchester United. I know the club has prestige. I know the club has an incredible history in the game of football. That's not what I'm talking about. But at Manchester United in 2025, I just do not understand that. And for me, if he does move to Manchester United, and if that is something that does happen, we will talk about it later. Like, estimation wise, it would plummet in my book, and that's fine. Anybody else can think differently. I know I've seen countering views. Now, I'm not going to go on Twitter and start tagging Emi Martinez and calling him every name under the sun. I'm also not going to go full bore much on him if he does move to Manchester United on the podcast, because you draw a line under things like that and you move on. You know, you can worry about the players that you have. Don't worry about the players that you had. That's going to be my mentality. And it was kind of my mentality with John Duran. Loved him when he was at the club, wanted him to stay with the club. When it became an issue whereby he didn't want to be with the club, he's gone. He's gone. He's somebody else's darling now. He's also somebody else's problem now, whatever way you look at it. It's just, for me, obviously, Emi Martinez has been a great servant to the club, super servant to the club. And to me, it kind of catches me. It kind of catches me in my mind and catches me in my heart with regards to him moving on from the club, number one, and second of all, if it was to be to Manchester United. But that's to be discussed. It may not be. Who knows if that rumor is true or not. Losing Emi Martinez is a big it will be a big hole to fill within this team. He has been part of the collective catalyst that has been the rejuvenation of Aston Villa Football Club under Dean Smith initially. When Dean Smith was here solidifying within the Premier League that season, then the stagnation under Steven Gerrard. But since Unai Emery has come in, obviously we see what has happened to Emi Martinez, World Cup winner, Copa America winner, Yashin winner 2 years in a row, arguably considered, and to us fans as Aston Villa fans, we've chanted world's number one to him for 2.5 seasons now, and in my mind, well deserved that he would get that. So massive hole to fill. If Lucas Chevalier is the person to come in, and it's not just the gospel according to Neil, because let's be honest with ourselves, guys. Like I'm a guy, as I've always said, I'm a guy in my office that looks at way too much football. My opinions are never 100% fleshed out. There's always holes in my arguments for players because I don't do this professionally and I do this in my spare time. But for me, Lucas Chevalier does seem to be the how will I put it? I would like he is one of the hot prospects goalkeeper wise in Europe at the moment. And what kind of makes me potentially think that Emi Martinez is going is not only the smoke without fire, and also not only the fact he was crying on the field prior to post the Spurs game last year, is for me the reason is that I think Villa have known for a while, and they've been in discussion with Lucas Chevalier. I have nothing to go on with this. This is just my tinfoil hat moment. Okay, give me my tinfoil hat moment. If Emi Martinez had told the club that he wanted to move on, regardless of what happened, that he wanted to seek pastures new, which he could well have, Villa would obviously not have waited and sat in their hands. They would have gotten conversations. Potentially, they've been in conversations with Lucas Chevalier for a while. And the reason I would posit that conspiracy theory is that other clubs have sniffed and not spoken to Lucas Chevalier, and there's a ton of clubs looking for goalkeepers at the moment. An absolute ton of clubs looking for goalkeepers at the moment. And this guy is too good to not have, like too good in my view, for my mind not to go to, well, maybe if Villa have known about this for a while and they have moved to this guy early and there has been an offer made, and because we're on the 20th of June and likely things won't be done until after the 30th of June because of PSR, potentially something could have been in the offering for a while. Again, before anybody starts, and I'll come to the comments in a moment, I have nothing to go on here other than too much time to think about football. That's the only hypothesis that I have to go on for that thought process, is just the fact that why aren't other teams in for this guy? Because he is bloody good. Why aren't other teams in for him? Why aren't Man United going for him? And I'm going, well, if Emi Martinez is staying with Villa, why aren't Man United going for Lucas Chevalier? They're not. Like, if Donnarumma is leaving Paris Saint-Germain, why aren't Paris Saint-Germain going for Lucas Chevalier? And they're not. Well, not that we know of. There's no smoke without fire in that instance. Like, there's no smoke there. If Juventus really are looking to move on from De Gregorio, why aren't they looking at Lucas Chevalier? Why weren't Barcelona looking at Lucas Chevalier? I know they have who they think is going to be their new number one in John Garcia. So, but prior to that, and I'm like, for it to be Aston Villa, much and all as I love the club to bits, and much and all as I think that we are held in higher esteem probably than even fans in England would like to believe, we're held in higher esteem on the continent than fans in England would lead us to believe. Still, I do sometimes think there are bigger clubs out there that need goalkeepers, and why aren't they in for him? Because he is that good. So, look, that's just my wild mind doing wild things at the minute. If Emi Martinez is to go on, Lucas Chevalier is somebody that does come in, I will heavily question that, whether how long has this been known and why other teams weren't in there. And that's where my mind will always go on this one. But to be honest with you, I'm not disappointed. I wouldn't be disappointed. Like, I'm not. It's not like I'm saying this that I'm disappointed that would be the the string of events. I would actually be delighted if that was the string of events. Not that we're losing Martinez. Don't take that out of context. I'd be delighted that that's the string of events, because it would show the fact that Villa were proactive in their movement, that there was a thought process behind it, there was agreement behind the scenes, and that there was no panic jump being caught off guard by Emi Martinez wanting out of the club, if that is true, and moving for somebody. It would be a concerted effort with thought process, planning, and collaboration and agreement, which you want from a brain trust at any level, whether it's business, whether it's business level, whether it's at your amateur five-a-side team or Sunday morning team. You want that kind of consensus when you're making big decisions. And that's why that would make me happy if that was the situation. If it did come out in the wash to say afterwards, Emi Martinez he intimated to us that he did want to leave, prior to the season ending. He wanted a new challenge with a new club, and we immediately got on. Our first choice was Lucas Chevalier, and blah, 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 we got him in. Or whoever it is, the goalkeeper that does come in. But all roads point to this guy being the person that Villa would like to replace Emi Martinez. It would be a coup. In a way, it would be a loss if we lose Emi Martinez. Massive loss. Like there's no sugarcoating that. Absolute massive loss. But in another way, to get in a massively highly thought of goalkeeper in Europe as a replacement would also be seen as, right, this club means business from their planning point of view, from how they're able to go and attract this young replacement for Emi Martinez, someone who's 10 years younger than him, performing, as we will show in a moment, with a statistical ability at the same level as Emi Martinez. Again, we need all this stuff to pan out, but this is my unprocessed and unthought of ramblings that I'm doing at the moment. Now we'll come to your comments in a minute afterwards, and we'll discuss those. But what I want to do is, the reason I'm saying this is because I'll share up here. This is just a slide that I did on Chevalier previously. And he's 6'3.5", right-footed. You can see his heat map there. But when you look at the green and the red on that right-hand side, the only real differences that you'll see here are that, well, Lucas Chevalier kept more clean sheets than, he conceded less goals than Emi Martinez did last season, and he didn't pass the ball as much. But then again, Emi Martinez was tasked with doing that, and there isn't a massive amount in it. You're talking 8 passes per 90 minutes in the difference. So the links with this guy, it's too coincidental, number one, currently where we are. And number two, it lines up from a statistical and when you watch them point of view, it lines up that it's almost too good to be true that you will get a replacement for Emi Martinez that would have obviously not be Emi Martinez replacement from the aura he conducts. He's a leader in the field. He takes an awful lot on his shoulders, all that kind of stuff. But with just the goalkeeping traits that you would see, like Emi Martinez has brilliant reflexive abilities, like that save against Nottingham Forest last year. Some of the saves that he's pulled off have been absolutely eye-watering. How good his reflexes have been. How quick he's able to get down to the ball, how quick he's able to get to the top corner. Have a watch of Lucas Chevalier and see how similar that is. This guy can get down to the ball. The way this guy moves his weight, and I'm only new to goalkeeper scouting, so bear this in mind as well. But one of the things that really strikes me with this guy is the movement of his weight from like his left foot to his right foot, and his right foot to his left foot. He's consistently shuffling on his feet, which gives him the ability to spring downwards and spring back upwards again. So why is that important? Double saves. This guy makes a ton of them. He's got a highlight reel of them. It's absolutely fantastic to see. He's just so agile. His lateral movement is so good, and his reaction times are absolutely brilliant. So that is like that's one thing I love about Emi Martinez. It's one thing that you can see is a trait that he shares with Emi Martinez as well. I'm just looking at some notes that I've written down here on him as well. So just from a technical ability, I spoke to somebody on Lucas Chevalier as well. And one thing that they told me was that he's, where's it gone to? I'm just after, I'm after losing my note there. he's got really reliable hands, really reliable catching ability, but he does have some lapses in when he comes for the ball and when he comes for crosses, and that more so is being led to the fact that he was kind of not told to come and collect that ball as much, and let his centre halves deal with it at Lille. Now that's one thing that's a difference. So we talk about a similarity to Emi Martinez. One of the things that he wouldn't have is when we defend corners, one of the big things we do is the back post is Emi Martinez's domain. When that ball goes to the back post, it's 9 times out of 10 Martinez will shuffle his way back there and catch that ball at the back post. He doesn't really contend an awful lot for balls, specifically going to catch them in the middle of the goal area, but he does at the back post. Now, Chevalier, wading his way through traffic, he's a young goalkeeper, say 23, 24 years of age. This comes with age and experience. This is something that he would need to work on. He's not terrible at it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you watch him and take this for yourself. But it's an area that he would differ from Martinez, as I say. And that's really what I'm trying to highlight here with this. His positioning, this person that I messaged as well has come back to me and said positioning is really good. His reading of the game is really effective, and he anticipates threats. Look at his heat map there. He is averse to coming out, or he's very well versed in coming out to the edge of his box, albeit he doesn't stray too far from his box, so sweeper keeper wouldn't really be it. Like, he's the high line may not be as high as it's been with Martinez at times. Just this guy hasn't been tasked with doing that an awful lot. But he's able to rush out. He's got good speed. He's got good position. He's got great reading of the game as well. And he can. And like there is a note here from this person that says, "Don't get me wrong." It's exactly written here. Don't get me wrong. He can't command his area during set pieces, and he can command it during corners. Just, I would like to see him be more authoritative in the way that Martinez is. That Martinez is that guy who protects that back post, and Chevalier can learn to do that. It's just he's not being asked to do that for Lille at the moment. So that's something that I just wanted to clarify there as well. Really calm goalkeeper. You can see this on his tape as well, corroborated by this person that I text as well. Chevalier demonstrates very calm demeanor under pressure. He says that's crucial. It's one of his key attributes as well. He's very confident, and that late in the season last year, and at times during the Europa Conference League run, where we actually ended their participation in that he was becoming to be more of a leader within the team, albeit there were bigger names, there were bigger auras within that team that were the leaders. You could see him even in that penalty shootout. He looked confident. He looked a very capable goalkeeper underneath that pressure. And obviously we know what happened to Martinez there. He became the villain / hero of the piece, getting sent off, and then getting the yellow cards during that instance, and having that whole rigmarole that went on with him. Chevalier also looked a really good goalkeeper in those games too, and just to highlight that as well. So a real interesting one. If it is going to be him, that is going to be the replacement for Emi Martinez, and if Emi Martinez actually even leaves, because I know that some people have cast doubt over the legitimacy of the Emi Martinez links as it is. But the Emi Martinez links out came last night. The links of who his replacement would be seem to be gathering steam today, however true they are, but they're coming from French sources, reliable French sources at that. If this does pan out, obviously it'll be an interesting one. It would be the first big move Villa would have for the off season as well, but also what it would be is it's also a huge move for the chemistry of the team, and it's a move that Villa absolutely 100% need to get right this off season if we are to continue our upward trajectory. Now, let me come to some of your comments there, because I'm quite I can see them in the bottom corner there, but I want to come back and talk about this. So Wax says, don't understand the change of mind by Martinez, who said he wants to win things with us and now he wants out. Again, either do I. As I say, that's something that Emi Martinez will have to account for if he does leave. I'm not sure. Like, it's his prerogative to want to move, want to progress his career, and maybe want to move for more money. If that is the case, maybe he's been sold on an incredible project at Manchester United. I don't know. Maybe playing for Manchester United gives him more global prestige. I have no idea. It's as I say, that's one for Martinez's memoirs, if they do ever come out in English. Stephen Wright says, if a Champions League team with a chance to win the Champions League comes in, Emi will go. If not, he won't. This Man United stuff is bollocks. As I say, I don't know whether it's true or not, but the fact that his wife, like one of the reasons that I think there could be legs in it is the fact that his wife is bigged up her and started opening new shops and new premises within the UK, specifically in the Midlands. You know, it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that she could obviously run those from being abroad, but also she could also run them from Manchester. You know, and if she's opening stuff, that doesn't mean that she's looking to relocate somewhere else in Europe. But once again, as I say, she could run them from Europe. But I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things there's a big Gordian knot of half truths and full lies that are out there. But I think as time goes on, you know, we're getting to the crunch moment where we find out if Emi Martinez will stay or will go. And with the Lucas Chevalier stuff beginning to gain speed in France, and as I laid out, that other teams have kind of almost been warded off him. You know, he comes into Villa, he's guaranteed starter. You know, absolute guaranteed starter at Villa. That might be something that he wants. Plus, also maybe he won't have the same pressure that he would have had at Juventus and Man United. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll let you guys discuss that. I'm just positing kind of factors here. You know, we will know soon whether Emi Martinez is going to leave or going to stay, and we will know soon if there is going to be a replacement. But as I said, steam is building up in France for this guy Chevalier to Aston Villa. As Martin says here, the wait is a killer. Just need to know what's going on. I think I just want to draw a line under things. You know, I will. For me, it's better to have loved and lost than not to have loved at all. Kind of, that's the way I kind of see it, and I will move on pretty quickly. But I just, you know, for me, it's thinking about Aston Villa Football Club and the team in general. If your goalkeeper is to leave, get it done early in the off season so that you can get the new guy in to form chemistry, to build bonds, to understand his defense, and to get communicating as quick as possible. Because all in all, that is one thing that Emi Martinez did brilliantly. It seems did absolutely brilliantly. And as Martin says as well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a disruption to the squad morale, because there's no way Emi Martinez. So just for people listening, Martin said there, it's a disruption to squad morale if this speculation continues. I don't think it is, because I think if Emi Martinez has said he wants to go, everybody in that dressing room knows he wants to go, and I don't think it's a disruption to morale. And also, like, if he's crying, like, people would have, it would have come up in conversation. Like, people aren't going to bury their heads like ostriches in the sand when he's crying after the Spurs game. People would have asked him, what the fuck are you crying for after the Spurs game? Like, they're all friends, they're all mates, they're all like, there's nobody there that's scared of Emi Martinez of asking him a question in that dressing room. And I can guarantee you that question has been asked of him, or it's probably been known, maybe, if that is the case. You know, this won't be like, they won't be as in the dark as we are, put it that way, within the team. So I think I would be less likely to think that there was a massive squad disruption from that, because at the end of the day, they're going to be mates with him. Like, if the move doesn't materialize, they'll understand the business of football. If he turns around and says, look, I got offers, they weren't the offers I wanted, I really like staying at Aston Villa were open to me leaving, they were been brilliant throughout this, they said I could go if the opportunity came up, but, you know, my heart has been at Villa all the time, and you know, when it came to the crunch time, I realized I didn't actually want to leave Aston Villa, and I've signed a new 3-year deal. You know, stuff like that happens in football, and other players kind of just they go, right, that's the business of football, we have to understand, we all understand it. That would be my view on it anyway. I could be wrong. Where else are we? Yeah, there's I'm going to scroll down a small bit here, guys, so apologies if I miss any of the comments. Andy Villa says, to think of all the fake tears of Villa Park against Spurs, crying at the thought of all that money he'll make at Old Trafford. No, you're absolutely fine to have that opinion. I don't go there. I don't think they were fake tears. I think he appreciates it because Villa made him on the world stage. So I think no matter what happens, we may feel ill about him afterwards, or we may feel, you know, let down by him. But I do think that he will hold Aston Villa high in his heart, because of what they've done for him. But as I say, like, people's careers don't go on forever, and maybe you know, Who knows what his motivation is for leaving? But I could get behind. I don't begrudge you for feeling that way, Andy. I certainly don't. For sure. Rob P asked about squad cost ratio. Anyone heard of this? Yep. I don't know whether that's a comment in jest or an actual comment, but yes. And potentially Lucas Chevalier would not come in on wages. He would come in on less wages than Emi Martinez, and therefore help our squad cost ratio as well, if that is the case. Where are we here as well? Yeah, a lot of people saying PSG are rumored to go for Chevalier. PSG won't sign Chevalier unless they get rid of Donnarumma. We talk about you want to talk about a massive firebomb that would be thrown into in with a can of petrol into a bonfire, would be to bring in another goalkeeper without getting rid of Donnarumma first. Donnarumma is not a guy who goes quietly. And he's bloody brilliant. He won them, he himself and Hakimi won them the Champions League this year. Like, Donnarumma was the reason Aston Villa didn't draw level against PSG, and he was the reason in the semi-final he pulled off some blinding saves too as well to keep them there. So they're going to need, like, they won't be bringing. I would be surprised. I'm not always right, and I'm wrong more than I am right. I would be very surprised if they brought in a goalkeeper of Chevalier's quality without getting rid of Donnarumma first, and they certainly wouldn't bring him in to be competition for Donnarumma, because that would turn into an absolute powder keg. Now, if Donnarumma was to leave and was to go to Juventus, yeah, absolutely. But that's why I think Villa will want to get this done sooner rather than later to get Chevalier in. That it's picking up pace now that it's Aston Villa that are looking at Chevalier, and that's what I meant from that point of view. Where are we? Oh, I'm down to the bottom already. Where are we? Yeah, a lot of the comments are more conversations between a couple of people in the comments there as well. So thanks a million, everybody, for your comments. It is always good. And it's good, guys, that you guys have this engagement going on. You know what? There's times like these where I wish I had a kind of a phone-in option on the podcast where people could call in and give context to some of the comments and stuff like that. And you never know, we might get that going soon. I have the technology for it. I'm just, how will I put it? I'm just a bit... I'm a bit nervous. I don't know what the slander and the what those type of laws are on YouTube. That if I had somebody come in that was completely off the wall altogether, could we face any legal repercussions on the podcast? But it's like it stays like this where I'm on my own. There's an emotive kind of topic like this with Emi leaving, and potentially and the reasons we don't know why he wants to leave. I would love to get people to come on, share their opinions on it, and have a conversation with people as opposed to talking to comments here. Well, I do love your comments, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's good to flesh out a thought point that you guys put in, because there's some really good thought points in the comments as well. So I have the technology, I have the hardware here set up to do it. If I can find a set of balls to suck it up and do it, maybe we might do it in the new season and see it'd be something different. But yeah, I don't know how to moderate, and we don't have a 7-second delay here either on the podcast, so that might be a rod for my own back if I was to set that up. But I trust you guys that you'd be nice if we were to set it up, for sure. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. This is a kind of an impromptu podcast. I'm just here on my lunch and work, so I said I'd jump on. Thanks a million for watching and for listening. If anything breaks over the weekend, we will be here with you to chat about anything at all. We're getting closer to the 30th of June deadline. A lot of things will become clearer. There will be a lot of nonsense written in the next 10 days. There will also, some of that nonsense will turn out to be true. So hopefully we will be able to bring you as much coverage as we possibly can over the next 10 days as we count down towards PSR Day on the 30th of June. But until then, guys, thanks so much for your time today at a different time to normal. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the